Now I'd like to turn to Clark Cooning for the build along of the Banta model that he's working on. Clark, welcome.
Well, hi, kids. So when we were together last week, we did part one, and obviously this is part two this week. As we left you off last week, we said to glue or not to glue. That was going to be the big question. So per Bill's suggestion and thinking along the lines of somebody who's not built one of these models and kind of new to modeling, which I tend to do quite a bit because my whole approach to these clinics is to help the newer modeler. People like Phil are going to figure it out anyway, but because he has experience. But for people who are just starting out, it's maybe a good idea to start with the suggested instructions to a certain point. So anyway, as we mentioned before, the slight difference between this kit and most kits is that there is a plywood base, or in this case, MDF. And then we add the pieces onto the substructure. So as we talked about last week, we have sort of the option one of putting it all together, or do we do it in the flat? Now, these are the individual boards that have already been laser cut here in on the right-hand picture under option two. So after some thought, I decided we would glue it up. So what we've done here is just checking the pieces, make sure we know where they're going to go in relationship to the basic floor. We've already glued in the underframe or the foundation. And so we have to know where all these pieces are going to go. Now, we talked about registration marks. So we know if we flip this over, the registration marks would be on the outside of the building, because we're going to need those points as references to put up the board-on-board pieces. Now, first of all, now somebody asked Bill a question about sanding the edge of the laser. I really believe you should, after building literally hundreds of laser kits. Taking off that little bit of burn from when the laser cuts it, it allows the wood glue to get in there a little bit easier. Otherwise, it sort of sits there. I want the wood glue to get into those porous pieces of wood. So I just give it a real quick sand. You don't have to change any dimensions or anything. You just want to take off some of that burn mark from the laser. Now, I like to use these little glue bottles. I'm just using the yellow glue, and we'll go around all the edge and the bottom piece that has to be glued onto, in this case, the basic frame. I'm also using a little 2x2 angle piece to make sure I get this nice and square. One of my pet peeves is glue. Oy, oy, oy. Don't be lazy. Clean up glue if you get a bit of a run out. A simple little stiff bristle brush with some water, and clean up that glue. It goes a long way to building a better model. So per the kit's instructions, we've glued now the 4 pieces up, and it goes together really nice. It is a super neat kit, in my opinion, and very well designed. Now, at this point, while that's doing, I went on to the roof. So the same thing, I've sprayed it with the gray paint. And so there's 2 pieces to the actual roof, and then these 2 supports. And you'll notice that they have windows cut in them. And this is kind of, again, a different approach to putting a roof on a lot of kits. And this is really good. As Phil talked about, he glued his roof on, and maybe, how can I get it? This, the way it sits in the model, allows you to make it removable and not really have to glue it down. It's really well thought out, I think. So here we have the basic angle pieces. on the left-hand portion or left slide. And then you've got your flat section here. And again, the notches fit perfectly into each other, and you can glue them up. Now, I only did it halfway here so that you can see here, you can see how this piece actually fits on the inside of this. And that's why those windows are cut out, because if you remember from the outside of the, on both ends, the gable ends, there is a hole or window for in the structure. So you need that hole to continue. Now here's one, it's just taped in place so that you can see, and you want to make sure it will line up in your hole, but it does perfectly. When you glue them together, it will line up. And here's a view from the outside again. You'll see that there is no interference from this support piece. All right. And here's what it looks like on the building. Now, you'll notice that there is a bit of a space here, but as per the instructions, that you're going to lay another piece in there. But basically, the outer structure of the whole building is now complete, and we can let that dry. So now the next question. Oh, one thing, and I should say it here. You have to watch. There is this little hole in the roof, and that is for the smoke jacket, for the stove or whatever you want to use in here. And that has, per the instructions, it's sort of in this corner. Now, if you flip this wall or this, roof component over, it would be on the other side. Now, in this kind of model, it looks like a little office would be over here, and then the rest would be storage. So more than likely, the stove would be situated here in order to keep the freight agent warm. So just make sure that, oh, hey, where we locate the hole. Otherwise, you're going to have to drill it out. Okay, so here's the complete roof insert. It's all drying, and it really is pretty strong as well with the way it's designed. So now the big question, how do we want to color this structure? Remember, all these individual boards are all laser cut here, and we're going to glue them onto the surface. So that's the big question. How are we going to color this, and what are we going to use? I decided to go with Driftwood Hunterline Stain to start with. That's going to be my base color. I wanted kind of a rustic look, so we're going to go with the Driftwood. And as I've said before, as the world turns in model railroading, stay tuned for next week's clinic. Same bat channel, same bat time. When in part 3, we're going to stain, paint, or do something totally crazy. And I haven't quite decided which way I'm going to go yet. I'm kind of leaning to the crazy, which suits my personality.
We've known that for a long time.
Yes, thank you. So we're going to look at something kind of neat. I'm going to look at a couple of things that I've just recently learned from another friend of mine, a fellow named Ralph Renzetti. And he did a clinic on NMRA X, which you may go look at, about peeling paint. And it was kind of a neat process. And I've kind of gathered up all the materials and thinking about actually trying his process on this. So anyway,
Yeah,
that's
gotta
it.
be crazy to live in Elliott Lake.
No, not crazy at all. Not crazy at all. And hopefully we'll see everybody next week. So answers to these and modeling questions and much more next week. We'll talk to you then.